things, stand up real fast. One of the things that you got to be very conscious. This is, I just want to nitpick right now, and I just want a nitpick. So I want you to think about it. What I used to do a lot when I was training really hard is I'd get in front of a mirror, Mr. Trail and myself would get in front of the mirror, and we'd sit there and we'd watch, because we're our best critics. I can critique myself really well. When you do a slide, let's do a slide upside kick. There you go. All right, now, sit back down. Now, when you do the slide upside kick, now do another slide upside kick. Go ahead, do it again. Slide upside kick, go. All right, what's happening here is where's his weight? I mean, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. All I did was this. All I did was join. If you're leaning at all, and I'm going at the same time, I'm going to beat you. I don't care if you land the kick or what, I'm taking you down. All right, so, all right, sit back down. Thank you. So try not to lean back so much, because then all of a sudden, what it takes away is your hands. To get a hand, you got to come back up again to get your hands. A lot of wasted movement. One thing I noticed is a lot of wasted movement. What I mean is, Mr. Ingram was talking about that, is if your hands are here, and you're like this, your hands got to get from here to here, just get started. Start your hands already out here. So now you got the closest distance from your hand to their body. Don't have your hands back here like this. Get them up here. Your feet, weight distribution is so important. That's one thing I think you all need to work on a lot, is weight distribution. And that is, when you're fighting, don't have all your weight on the back leg or the front leg. It's 50-50. Have that foot turned like Mr. Gallagher said. And work on your weight distribution. When a person's fighting you, if you're fighting me and we're looking at each other, you're looking at me here to here. So right now, if you're looking at me, you didn't see all my weight's in my front leg right now. So you didn't even see that. And now, when I'm here, all of a sudden, I shoot the jab, my body's coming. All right? Why? Because I distributed all my weight and I didn't show my opponent that. Thank you. What I see a lot of you do is when you're shifting your weight, you're literally shifting your weight. I saw you do it. You fight Mr. Wright, Mr. Chip Wright, he will tear you apart limb from limb every time he sees a weakness. He sees you drop your hand, he sees that hand come back, he sees you shift your weight, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble because he's going to go for that weakness. So what you have to work on is to eliminate weaknesses like that. Don't try to have your hands in the right position. Try not to waste movement. Try not to have your foot turned out where you got to turn your foot in to get going. Right there, you just lost it. Try not to have your hands back, and so your hands have to travel from here to get started. Have your hands already out there in front. Keep your hands up. Keep them out there. Don't be doing all this stuff. All right? You got that hand out here. Once I see that hand hit here, I'll time it. And I'll wait for that hand to get there, and I'm coming. All right? Why? Because that hand's no good to you anymore. There's, I was writing down observations as I was watching you. So, closing the gap is a big deal. Mr. Ingram was doing that very well, teaching you how to close the gap. Outthink your opponent, draw them out, see them fight first if you can, fake them, see what they're going to do. Draw them out. Don't go in there and just think you're going to do a move and then go for it. Do fakes, fake them, and see if what they're going to do. And if they don't do what you think, you got them. Then you can do your movements. Another thing too is to practice fighting combinations. Pick out ones you like and put them together where they flow. Get in front of a mirror and practice them until, you're eating, sleep, and drinking them until you can do them, and you can do them at any time. And it becomes reflexive action then. All right? You get in a position, also your jab comes out, next thing you know, the hand's coming out, the kick's coming out. Do fighting combinations. What Mr. Ingram was having you do is a good thing, but I never saw anyone do the same thing, like it was a combination that they learned. It was just a bunch of combinations that you did differently over and over again. Go ahead, Mr. Fred.
Earlier I was mentioning the fact that I was watching Mr. Norris at the Nationals, and I knew exactly practiced so much and so often that it was reflexive movement. So when we got in there and fight, those were the techniques that we used because those are the techniques that work and we knew them very well.
Exactly right. You do them so much, I didn't have to think about them. Once I got going, I was a machine. You just go, and that's what you guys have got to become, is you got to practice that jab, slide up, sit down, punch, front kick, jab, punch. And you got to not create openings. You have to keep your hands in the right position. You have to not telegraph. If you telegraph, you're dead. I mean, and it's so easy to see someone telegraph something. And so that's one thing you really got to work on. I'm sorry, you're going to ask a question.
No, well, if you fight one another,
Yes.
and you know each other so well.
Yes.
I'm not gonna fight him, he's too tough.
No.
Yeah, I mean, but if you were trained in exactly the same thing and you said you knew
I
it.
have to try it out thinking even then.
Yeah, so it would be so much more difficult because you know it so well.
It's like a chess match where the guys are even. One guy has to, exactly what he said.
But if the one guy makes a mistake,
And then you can see it.
okay, for instance, I was going for my second degree black belt. And I had just gone through the whole test, and then I had to fight 4 or 5 people. And sure enough, they called Mr. Prelo for me to fight him, all right? And so I thought, okay, so I get up there. Boy, did I make a mistake. I mean, I telegraphed, and I came in, and I was open, and he hit me with a front kick. I'll never forget the rest of my life. I mean, it dropped me. I mean, I tried not to let it show, but I had to turn around and went, and it was for my second degree black belt. And it hurt so bad, but I got sloppy. I let my guard down. I came in with my body first. I didn't lead with a jab. And when I led with my body, he stuck that front kick right, and he brought the knee up perfectly and just shoved it right in my gut, right underneath my hands where they were. That's how you win when you fight people, is if you make a mistake. And what you try to do is try to make them, you create mistakes in them. And so, fighting is being a smart fighter, just out thinking. And, but learn fighting combinations. Learn ones that you can do well. And think about that stupid thing about the rope in the car. It's a stupid idea, but it really works. It gets it in your head that the hand goes first. It gets it in your head that even on your reverse punch, when you're doing a reverse punch, if that rope is tied to a car takes off, my body's not going to do this, or my shoulder's not going to do this. The hand's going to go first, and then everything's going to follow after that. If you do that, the other person has something to think of. They got to think about that punch coming at them. If they just see a body coming at them, they're going to react and they're going to hit that body. But if he sees a fist coming at him, then he's got to do something. He's got to get out of the way of that fist, which then creates another opening. Okay, so think about these things. Don't get yourself in bad fighting positions. Don't open yourself up. Don't waste movement. Do not waste movement. Don't have your hands back here. Have your hands up here. Because this is a waste to bring your hand from here to here to get started. It's a waste to turn your foot from here to here to get started. And these are the things that give it away. Okay.
What's the first thing that goes when you attack? I didn't hear anybody.